Get started. I know that I'm hearing that Rick won't be here, and we don't know about the others, but we'll just jump right in here. It's 6:02 p.m. I'm calling to order the meeting of the Sherwood, Oregon Charter Review Committee for May 15th, 2024. So Sylvia, would you like to do a roll call?
Chris West.
Here.
Joy Kuzer.
Here.
Michael's absent. Chair Grant.
Yep.
Vice Chair Neil Shannon.
Here.
Paul Mayer.
Here.
Shannon Mays.
Here.
Deb Deers.
Here.
And Council Liaison Mays.
No.
Thank you.
I just saw somebody walk in. I didn't catch who it was. Oh, okay, we're good. All right, so let's approve the agenda. Are there any comments on the agenda that's in our packet tonight? All right.
To approve.
Okay, it's been moved to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, moved and seconded to approve tonight's agenda. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, carries. Thank you, Board. Sylvia will note that we have one more member present. So we have citizen comments tonight. I understand one citizen would like to comment. You can go ahead and step forward if you would. We don't have a microphone for you, but just go ahead and speak up. We'll hear you. Okay.
Hi. I am one of many people who worked on the Citizens Initiative that put the water cap tax in place. So I thought I'd come tonight and speak a little bit about the process and why we did it and how I think it's benefited you immensely since we did it. It was a citizens initiative, like I said, and it was done in 2016. We went door to door, and people knew we were coming, so we got hugged, and we got thanked, and some people cried. And the reason they did that is that they had heard from other venues, other cities, that the water rates were going up and up and up, and there was nothing they could do about it. So people thanked us, and our goal was to give citizens a stable, manageable water bill. I just happened to tune into you last meeting, and I heard someone say it was personalities, it was this, it was that. It wasn't. It was concerned citizens. It was people who said, we can do something. We can actually put this on the ballot. We can ask people to vote for it. And when it goes into effect, we, the citizens, will know that we have stability on one bill. I don't know if you know this, but PGE, who doesn't have something like this little group, is going to raise your rate 17%. They do have an overarching rate organization, but that overarching rate organization is just going to approve it. So our goal was stability. We said, you have to look at this as government wants an increase, but citizens want stability. Most citizens do not see more than 2% a year in an increase in salary. But we also need to have a cognizant idea that our rates will go up. Water rates will go up, sewer rates will go up. And as long as I stick to the 2% and it goes up gradually, then everybody doesn't feel the same kind of pain. We couldn't control any other bill. The water was the only thing. So over the course of years, it has gradually gone up, and now we understand you need $600,000. And what I'm going to recommend is one of two things. Either you do a general obligation bond, which goes on the ballot, people approve it, they pay for it, it's over with at some point, and it's not something that is on your bill and continually increases. And the other thing that was brought to my attention by other people is we do have the money right now sitting in the URA. We will have the money when it's needed sitting in the URA. So tomorrow I'll be sitting in on a budget meeting and I'll talk about this there. But I appreciate your time. If you have any questions, I thought work on it. We did signs.
Who told you that the URA could fund a capital improvement project that's already been done in the city? It wasn't part of the plan, so the URA can't fund it.
There's money there right now.
The URA can't fund it, it's illegal. So somebody told you that the URA can fund something that has already been spent, they just lied to you or they're misinformed. The URA is governed by,
Mr. Cottle, I'm going to stop you for a second and reclaim some time because I would like to say that I wouldn't trust a word out of your mouth. If anybody wants to know a lot about Mr. Cottle, go to the Bar Association and look.
well, I
at
appreciate
what's
that.
happened.
But I guess I have the same feeling for somebody like you that comes and talks to us but doesn't understand the law.
Oh, I think I do.
Okay.
Keith, do you trust Keith?
Probably not.
Enough to, I'm just going to say, Keith, would you like to weigh in on whether the URA is allowed to, as Mark was saying? I mean, I don't want to get into a dialogue here, but there is only one citizen comment, so we can just take a few minutes here just to clarify this, on whether these types of capital expenses can be funded by the URA.
So the URA is established to do projects. You create a boundary in which a URA district operates in. Any project that is approved through the process that is within that boundary could occur. The project that is referenced that is being paid for is not in the district. It is not in the urban renewal district.
For past things that we've already spent money on.
I'm not saying it's there today. What I'm saying is it can be there. You can tap the URA.
It would,
I don't want people to do that.
it might be possible. It might be possible. But from a factual standpoint, that it is not a project that is in the urban renewal plan. It is not a project in the current urban renewal boundary. It is a project that is being paid for now. I do not know if a project that's paid for can then be reimbursed. And I believe since it's already been committed, I do not believe you can go back and change time.
Can you change the urban renewal district?
Yes, but can you go back in time and pay for a project that was,
Already paid for.
and I think, and I don't, we'd have to consult the city attorney.
$600,000 is already paid for.
The project has already been committed.
It's already been committed, but it hasn't been paid.
Again, there's this, it's been budgeted.
But it
I don't know, has the contract been awarded?
I don't think so.
So,
I'm not prepared to speak to whether it has or not.
yeah.
If you'd like to review, ORS 457 is the statute there, so it's pretty particular on what you can do with funding and paying.
I would also recommend that maybe you do one more meeting, and people maybe do a little bit of research on other opportunities rather than mess with the 2% water cap tax.
So it's also important to know this isn't a water project. This is
I
a,
know, but it comes under the water bill, so we citizens see it on the water bill.
we sit on the city utility bill.
We sit on this, and
City utility bill.
right, but I was gonna say the only city utility bill, but now that we have Sherwood broadband.
It's the same city utility bill.
Oh, I thought you chose not to put it.
It's on the same city utility bill.
So could you, just so I understand what your suggestion is that, because it sounds like you're trying to get something on the ballot that's going to be on the ballot alongside anything we recommend, right? It would be on the same.
No.
It would not.
No.
He's talking about the whole thing that they used to pass.
No, I'm talking about this is what we use to pass the 2%
Oh, I see.
cap.
Back when Bill was,
Okay.
Bill was not mayor at the time.
who was mayor at the time?
Clark.
Chrisana.
Chris on.
And Chrisana came out with a statement that she opposed it,
Okay.
which is fairly common for government to oppose citizen initiatives.
Okay. All right. Thank you for your comments.
Okay.
All right, any other citizen comments? Okay, don't see any, so we're gonna move on to new business. The first thing, we're going to do is approve, our prior meeting, the meeting of April 23rd, minutes, and they're in your packet. Any comments on those minutes, suggested changes? I'm sorry,
anything.
yeah, minutes, yes.
I didn't find anything.
All right, all right.
I thought they well represented all the comments that the committee made.
I agree.
So move to approve.
All right, it's been moved.
Second.
Did somebody second?
Paul.
Oh, okay. Moved and second, we approve the minutes of the April 23rd, 2024 minutes. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Thank you, board. Item B in new business, discussion of what we're here for tonight. And so we're going to start with the little one, which I believe is on page 10 of the packet. Oh, and it's right behind me. And so, staff, would you like to chat about where you got with this? I think it's a very simple change, and it's just more language than really effect, right, basically?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. And just for the benefit of the public that may be watching this, the impetus of this is not to compensate council monetarily. There's a rule that the Oregon Government Ethics Commission has promulgated to the extent that a counselor would use a credit card while they're traveling on city business. The Government Ethics Commission views it as problematic that a counselor would get to accrue those points, and it really is de minimis. But from an ethical standpoint, the Government Ethics Commission says you can do that as long as it's part of a reasonable compensation package. The issue here is we have a charter that says that they shall not be compensated. So what this amendment would do is it would change that to allow us to allow the city councilors or the mayor or really anybody doing business for the city in an elected capacity to utilize the personnel and travel policies that the city staff are able to use. So again, it's not compensating. It gives no money to city council or anything like that. It simply allows councilors to be in compliance with the Oregon Government Ethics Commission.
As I look at, first of all, any questions about what you just said?
I have one for clarification.
Sure.
It's just that we have to use the word compensated instead of reimbursed to get around that points thing.
Yes, ma'am, that's why I chose that word.
So, we don't show action items as a separate item on our agenda tonight, but are we planning, is the idea to vote on this, get a vote to a recommendation to council tonight, make that tonight? I think we certainly can.
I think that's your call, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, okay, well, then I think we should. I think there's simple enough items here, and we've talked about them a lot. Do we want to vote on this separately as a recommendation to council? That way we move on to the next one, which is a completely separate item anyway. Okay, well, so if there's none other comment on this, then would someone like to make a motion that we recommend option 1 as shown behind me to council for the ballot?
I moved that we do
Okay, it's
option
been
1.
moved
Second.
and seconded. Okay, all in favor of recommend, pardon me?
First discussion.
Yeah.
Ask
Oh.
for discussion once again. after a
Oh,
motion.
okay. Any more discussion beyond?
Yeah, are we gonna recommend it that they send it out to the citizens, or we just recommend it for them to consider? Because I don't want this to be part of anything we're gonna recommend on the water to go out at the same time. I just think we're looking at problems if we do that.
Would it show up as a separate item to be voted on? Would the citizens vote on 2 separate things?
Likely, yes, Chair.
Yeah, but it'd be on one ballot, though.
You could suggest lots of things, Commission. If you suggest that you could recommend stuff to City Council and address it over the course of multiple elections, or if you do this, whatever kind of
Right.
narrative you guys want to add to any of this, include it.
I'll vote for it if we recommend that it's not on the same ballot if we recommend a water rate change.
Okay.
I think that's just dangerous to have.
Sure.
And again,
So-
there's no water rate change.
I know, not water rate, but the cap issue.
If we really want to follow the rule, Robert's rules, we would need to retract the second and the original motion and make a new motion, right? I mean, that's what we're going to do here.
You can do a second motion after that motion to
Yeah.
say something.
Okay, so that's true. Oh, it does the same thing, so.
So is this, are you saying we only put one on the ballot? Is this or that?
No, my recommendation is, I think we would recommend that this is good and we should pass it, but it shouldn't go out, if we choose to move to the council some sort of rate change, that they don't put them on the same ballot, because I think the citizens get a little, it doesn't smell good to me when we say, hey, we want more money for this, and by the way, we want
More
to,
money, yeah, we want
to do this other thing to maybe give them
Set
more
off the
money.
alarms.
I think it sets off too many alarms. It's not a politically good move, but.
Mark, just to clarify, so not necessarily the same ballot, but two different measures?
Yeah, so for example, one could go out in November and one could go out next March or May, whenever the next time it
So
goes.
you're talking about
Two separate elections, yeah.
Elections, okay.
Okay, I'm gonna take that as a motion. Is there a second?
I'd like to add a comment
Oh,
before
go
we
ahead.
go there.
Well, let's find out,
I
if there's.
apologize, so you have to act on the first motion you have seconded. If you want to modify that, you can vote.
That's what you're saying.
So you have an
We can
open
either act
motion with
or
a
we can
second.
retract
You
the
have to-
motion and
You have to
second.
act on that second, you have to vote on that before you can do
Okay.
something else.
All right, who had the motion in the second to, okay.
Second.
Would you just like to retract your motion in a second, so we can vote on it?
Before we do that, can I make a comment?
Okay,
Basically, our duties are to write a report to city council with our recommendations. And what we're voting on right now is a recommendation that we propose this. As part of that report, we certainly can add verbiage to that report recommending to city council that they consider putting those on two different ballots. I don't think we need to have it in the motion for the acceptance of this. Now, if Mark doesn't want to vote on it because it isn't stipulated, that's Mark's choice. But I would prefer to vote on this motion.
well, yeah, okay. We can do that. I just want to point out that, anything we recommend to council ought to be something that we all agree on.
And that report will be agreed on by when it's completed by the entire committee.
All right.
So if I can, I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, I just want to make sure for clarity's sake. So Ms. Deers did withdraw that motion. So if we're going to have another motion, it needs to be a new motion. So she retracted that. So just so we're tracking for the record.
Right.
So let me make a motion then. I move that we recommend option one with language to the council that we would suggest that it may be more appropriate to have it on a separate timed ballot than on one with a cap increase.
Are you saying, but we haven't, we still have a motion in a
So
second?
it got withdrew.
It's been withdrawn at this
Okay,
point.
okay, I didn't catch if we withdrew those. Okay, there's a motion that we approve option one with a recommendation to council that they don't appear on the same election cycle. Second for that?
Second?
No second?
No.
There's a second.
Second.
All right,
Yep,
moving second, that we make a recommendation as such. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Discussion?
There's
Discussion.
Again, you need to have discussion,
We
brother.
never used to do that. We did a discussion before. I'm sorry. Any discussion of the it's been moved and seconded. Shall we discuss? Go ahead.
I don't think it matters one way or the other whether we put it on
Okay.
separately or together,
Okay,
personally.
okay. You're fine either way.
I would also prefer not to have that language on it.
Okay. All right. Any other discussion?
Yeah, I just add that, while I understand the confusion risk, we'll see how that goes down in Wilsonville with multiple pieces on the same
Same ballot.
subject on the same ballot. We'll see how those go down, but I really would leave that to the wisdom of the council to decide when and what they put forward. We're making recommendations on language for their consideration.
I agree.
Yeah, I have no problem with that. I have no
We're
problem.
advisory and
Yeah, we're just advisory.
ultimately advisory anyway.
Yeah,
They're going to do,
whatever they want.
but they're fully aware of the risk of putting feel that way, we should just, that's what we're doing, we're letting them know we feel that way. Looks like you're gonna say something, Keith.
If you, no, if you want me to, I'm here to help. I don't necessarily, I'm not gonna chime in, but I will certainly,
Okay,
Let's vote.
all right. Other,
Call for the question.
pardon me?
Call for the question.
Not if, no, Keith will get mad if I call for the
No,
question
no.
without.
No, now it is.
We've had the
Usually you
discussion.
should say, is there any further discussion?
That's what I'm
No further-
saying.
Okay.
No further discussion, let's vote.
All right, with no further discussion, let's vote.
What are we voting on?
Pardon me?
What are we voting on?
Yeah.
Islet wording?
Once again, we're voting.
Except on option one.
motion, you
Okay,
repeat the motion
motion
and.
was to approve option 1 of section 37 with also the recommendation that it does not appear on the same election cycle and it's the same timed election as the other one we're going to recommend on later tonight.
Potentially.
Potentially,
Yes.
yes.
Guess we know how
If
you're
we,
voting.
if we make another recommendation, it's on a separate, it's separate.
Separate.
Okay? All right. Okay. Okay, seeing no other discussion, all in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Opposed.
Okay. Will you raise your
I
hand if you?
raise hands.
Raise, yeah.
First of all, let's raise our hand for aye, if you approve. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, opposed, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. Motion carries. Thank you, board. I would rather have
No,
unanimous.
hold on for a
Pardon
minute.
me?
Can I move to call the question again? I just want it to be, I think it'd be better to have it unanimous to the council.
Okay.
I'm happy with the council deciding when to put it on there.
It would be. So what?
I would move to
question?
strike, to call the question again on, I voted wrong,
On your own motion.
on my own motion.
On your own motion. Okay.
I've done
So
other
it's
things,
been
like-
moved that we call the question.
Yeah, this is a.
We're gonna vote again on the same question, but we're removing the commentary about the timing of the elections. And we're simply voting on the.
Option
So,
Option 1
can I-
as it
You want
reads.
to roll up your, Robert's rules and
Yeah,
fix it?
can you, respectfully, Mr. Chair, I would suggest, is there a way that we can move on? I'm not sure we can just, if there's a motion that's been voted on and approved, I'm not sure we can just say, no, we don't do that and redo it. So I need to do a quick bit of research and make sure.
The process is if,
Yeah.
if someone from the winning side of a vote wishes to call
The question.
the question again, it can get readdressed. I don't know if it can get readdressed in the same. I've never,
I haven't dealt with
I've never
that,
done
so
this
let me
before
look at it and see. It's
but if you want to get to a
technical.
place where you can get a unanimous vote, you can propose a new motion.
Yeah, I propose a new motion.
All right, there we go.
My new motion is we adopt option 1 without any commentary.
Is there a second?
Second.
And overrule and override.
And override the previous motion that we passed.
There you go.
Okay with that, Ryan?
Second.
That works
All
for me.
right. Been moved and second that we, any discussion?
Thank you.
Good job.
See, I'm remembering it. Thank you. You just have to slap me around a little bit.
Been out of the game for a while. All
And I
pops.
understand what we're doing, so.
All right, all in favor of the motion to approve option 1 with no additional commentary, just as it's read on our agenda tonight?
And
signify by
repeal the
s-
previous motion.
And cancel the
Or the previous
motion.
vote, yeah.
Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It carries. Thank you, board.
Unanimously.
Unanimously. All right. I apologize, I had to stump through that a little bit. Some of that stuff I haven't done in a long time, like ever. All right, so we're going to move on to set the next page, which starts on 11, page 11. It shows the original language. Staff gave us 3 options, as we asked, of changes. Excuse me, 4, I guess. Yeah, the 4th would be just eliminate it, the section 47 entirely. Do you want to just give some commentary on what you've done here tonight,
Sure.
just so we can get clarity?
So option 1 and option 2 are essentially the same. The only difference would be the CPI West Index versus the Engineering News of Record, CCI. So those are obviously 2 different index. The one thing that I want to point out is at the very end, we've removed, the proposal has removed the requirement for 50% of the registered voters to cast the ballot, and it has removed the may language in there. So it just says, hey, if you have an election, 50% of the people voting would need to vote in favor. So that's what that is. I will clarify, starting with the 2%, it would be 2% plus whatever the percentage equal to the CPI West index is.
You figure you needed that 2% above the CPI index in order to cover continuing capital improvement projects and pay the $600,000 back?
So I think that's an open-ended question. And so we've been chatting quite a bit this week and last week among city staff trying to figure out numbers. And I would love to tell you, we have exact numbers that we're going to need. We just don't. There would need to be a study done on that. And so respectfully, one of the options, if you didn't want to consider any of these options, one of the options that you could do is tell city council something needs to be done about this and allow city council to make the decision on that. And they could say, hey, we need a study to figure out what the exact numbers are going to be. Obviously, one of the options is repeal entirely. So there's several things that you could do here, but I did want to make sure I put that on the table.
Well, once again, we are advisory, and so I think I feel the responsibility to at least weigh in on one of these options to them, so they have the opinion of all the board, all the people here tonight.
And in theory, you can do a lot of things, as Ryan commented. You could say, we all really like some version of this one, or we really like, do some more due diligence or whatever. We like this option or that option. Or don't do anything.
Or we could say we like one and two.
Or you can say, that's more of a generic statement of, this is
Right.
an important issue, you need to get it sorted, and this is kind of
Right.
the framework of how we think you should sort it, but maybe you need to.
Yeah. Go ahead, Paul.
Neil was first.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Neil.
One thing I wanted to, I've had some offline discussions with Kristen regarding clean water services, and I was wondering if she could share her observations.
Yeah, so after our last meeting, I was having more conversations with Craig Sheldon, and we talked a lot about last meeting, the pass-through. And I guess I just did want to emphasize or share and make sure it's clear. That is essentially what is happening. We have no control over the rates that Clean Water Services is charging. We turn around and charge them on the bill. They're set by Clean Water Services. The only thing that we have control over is that 2%. So that wasn't 100% clear to me last time, what was happening and how we were able to limit that. So I apologize for that. But I didn't want to say, we don't need to consider adding any pass-through language. That was a conversation we had. That is essentially what's happening.
2% of city services. We have no control over rates established by Clean Water Services.
Correct.
So that
That they charge us.
So we are, Clean Water Services, we are currently passing through their increase and then adding the 2% on top?
No,
No, or is the 2% all encompassing?
2% is our portion.
Right.
So when we break down the bill, there's a Clean Water Services portion, whatever they tell us it's going to be, and then we have our part, which is only able to go up by 2%.
to give you,
From our base
Maybe
and from our consumption, specifically to
clarify it a
sanitary.
bit. I went back through 10 years of my water bill. Now, my water bill may not be your water bill, but, so there are three main factors in the cost of the bill, which is the Clean Water Services base rate, Sherwood water base rate, and then Sherwood storm base rate. Those are the three major factors on the bill. On the Sherwood stormwater and the Sherwood water rates, they are perfectly aligned with the 2%. But when you take a look at the Clean Water Services sewer rates, they exceed that 2%. They're closer to 3, maybe 3.5% over that period of time. So again, we have no control on what Clean Water Services charges us. They do their own rates. City of Sherwood prints it on the bill.
That almost makes it sound like we're not the ones charging the money. Clean Water Services is charging the money.
That is correct.
Why does the 2% apply to what we charge our citizens if it's really clean water? Is it Clean Water Services charging Mark Cottle for the sewer, or is it the city of Sherwood charging Mark Cottle for the sewer? And I'm on septic, but,
We're charging on behalf of Clean Water Services.
okay, so that's my point, so.
We're collecting it for them.
Yeah, all you are is the middle person. Why does the 2%, I guess the attorney, why does the 2% apply to?
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
It doesn't apply to Clean Water
That's the
Services.
confusion from last meeting. It doesn't apply to, the 2% doesn't apply to the clean water services
Portion.
part of the bill.
So if they raise our rates 3%.
Or
they-
10%.
Or 10, they go up automatically on the bill because it's passed through.
Correct.
All right, but we don't have money for incidental,
Fixes that we
costs
have to do.
Discussed here.
Correct.
Okay, all right.
So
Like
just
our
so I'm clear,
system.
Clean Water Services, who owns the sewer lines in the road? Clean Water or us? Because if one breaks, is it Clean Water paying for it to fix it, or is it the city of Sherwood paying to fix it?
City of Sherwood.
Okay, so that's why the 2%, we're losing out, because it's cost more than the, okay, now I understand.
Can't maintain.
Yeah, it's a weird system we have with Clean Water Services.
Okay, all right, okay.
So God bless you both, but that is completely opposite what you both have told me. So, yeah, we'll talk offline.
Yeah.
So the challenge is not, so there's still the requirements placed upon us by Clean Water Services for the stuff that we're told to do. That we have no obligation or option, but we have to do it. We're still limited on that as well, or we're not limited on that expense that we, in our time, incurred.
Which types of stuff? I'm sorry.
So we have to do a whole laundry list of
Right.
stuff per our contract with Clean Water Services, in which our costs to do that work and the requirements of what is on that list, we have very little control over. Are those costs also restricted by the 2% or not?
I don't know that I can answer that question. I mean, the operations,
Killing me.
I mean, what is restricted by the 2% is the base sewer rate. Well, I mean, when we're talking about sanitary, the consumption and the base sewer rate. So those fees that we charge are what's restricted by the 2%.
Well, I thought that they weren't restricted if it's Clean Water Services charging us.
If Clean Water Service is the one charging, it is not restricted for the language of that.
Okay,
That
so-
applies to city council.
On his graph, on those three things, which one is a pass, which one's a pass-through and that 2% doesn't apply to? The base rate, the stormwater rate, or the water base rate? The sewer base rate, the water base rate, or the storm base rate?
Is that, can I-
Yeah. Is that all right for
Sherwood
me to get you?
water base is restricted to
Right.
2%. Sherwood storm is restricted to 2%. Clean water sewer base rate is not restricted.
I know, but when we collect, now I'm going back a little bit, so I may be wrong here. We own everything in the road with the sewer up to a diameter until it becomes a collector. And so if some of those 4-inch or 8-inch pipes in the road are damaged, we have to pay for those through our sewer fund,
Right.
which we're collecting, and that's controlled by the 2% because we're collecting it through the sewer amount. Is that right?
I don't have.
I don't know what the difference between a collector and a,
Well,
Kate, do you know the size?
I'm just giving you examples.
It's either 10 or 8. It's either
Yeah.
8 or 10 inches.
Okay.
We go above it, then it's a Clean Water Service.
There is capital improvements we have to pick up the cost to repair and maintain and clean, and that comes out of the sewer fund that we collect through above and beyond the base rate, is my understanding.
Oh, I apologize, but, yeah, we're gonna,
No, well, and I apologize. I obviously misunderstood. I thought we were capped by the 2%, or we were restricting it and we were absorbing the rest, so I was incorrect on that.
Well, it
last
sounds
time.
like we should almost go through the different options and say, council, you guys may want to have a study done and figure out.
Oh,
where
that's where I'm completely on
You know what I
that.
mean? Because
Could be,
I'm not ready to
budgetary-
put anything on the
budget committee.
ballot. If we recommend something and if it comes from my perspective, I'm gonna say, we're gonna do a study
Yeah.
up the wazoo, and if it takes a year, I don't care.
yeah,
Just because,
we have to do it right by the citizens. We have to do right by
And
the
we're set
citizens.
to update the master plan in about 16 months, I believe.
Yeah, that takes a long time.
Yeah, and so
That's a nightmare.
there's a lot of calculation for the. that
so we
needs
know
to
we have a
be in place.
problem, but let's get the right information to solve the problem. And if, just because I'm a little bit on tilt, if I was a member of the committee, I would suggest the idea of, this is a problem, we need to solve this problem. Maybe re-adjourn this committee in a year. After
Or
we get a
whenever the study
report.
comes in.
Yeah, and they can do that.
Let's hear from Paul and then Joy.
Yeah, based on the conversation we just had, I totally agree with, Mark, that, we ought to, get more information on this. Because if we have no control over the first thing on the bill, but we're worried about the maintenance, that's a whole different subject that we've been talking about. So I think we need more information to come up with some language that would satisfy the subject matter.
Okay. Joy and then Zana.
Yeah, no, my comments are similar, like it sounds like if if we're already getting the pass-through from CWS, it kind of makes, I feel like what we've been thinking on through is adding that plus 2% makes that feel a little moot, and not quite what we were aiming for. I, as a citizen before, I'm still for finding another way to fund those things rather than raising, people's utility bills. But,
Okay. Zana.
So I don't see how we can act on something that we don't know what is being proposed. What are the parameters? And so I think that we should drop it.
Well, okay, that's kind of what I'm hearing.
Well, the one thing we could do is just,
Yeah.
we could say, we trust the city council, we just want to repeal it, but I think that flies in the face of what the citizens have tried to
I
do.
don't think that's comply.
So let me try a motion, that we recommend that the city, staff, and council fully vet the, what
Update
Is-
the master plan.
the master plan plus what's under the 2%, the current 2%, and how that fits in with both short-term and long-term needs, and that